Hey everybody, hope you're having an awesome day. I'm Dylan Full with an epic tutorial for you. Today we're making Bailey's Irish cream cake. It's my buddy Gavin's birthday and this is his favorite cake of all time, so that's why we're gonna make it. It's really easy, a few simple ingredients, it goes together really quick, but it's delicious. All right, first thing you wanna do, preheat your oven to 350. All right, so we got our Bailey's Irish cream, buttermilk, sugar, flour, salt, oil, egg, cocoa powder, baking soda, and coffee. I'll link to this recipe down in the description so you don't need to worry about all the amounts and everything. So our first step is to mix all the dry ingredients into a separate bowl. So we're gonna take our flour. We need 2 cups of that. This is some fancy pants organic stuff. I'm not sure where it came from. I didn't buy it. Remember, like we always say, cooking isn't an exact science, so just get it close enough. And since we're at high altitude, you add a little more flour anyway. That's because of science. Okay, 1 3/4 cup of sugar coming right up. One down. 3/4, perfect. 3/4 cup of cocoa. Again, this is some kind of fancy Trader Joe's cocoa. I did buy this one, I'm not sure why. Any cocoa is fine. That looks about good. And make a mess if you want. We'll clean it up later. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/2 tea. 1/2 little tea. This is sea salt. You can use whatever color salt you like. Sometimes it's pink. I don't know how that happens. All right, 1 tablespoon of baking soda. When was the last time you made one of those baking soda volcanoes? I can't even remember what you put it in it to make it go up. I wish I could. All right, then you gotta like mix it together with one of these. That looks about mixed. Perfect. Now we got our dry ingredients all ready. We set that to the side and add the wet ingredients to our mixer. All right, first we got the egg. You'll want to break it into something other than the bowl thing because sometimes you make a mistake and drop eggshell in there and it's crunchy. But I think we've talked about this in the past. Your friends can't complain because they're getting delicious food. But luckily we didn't break any eggshell in there that time. Add it right in. Good to go. All right, 2/3 cup of oil. I made one error in judgment and don't have 2/3 cup of oil. Oof, not even close. So we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil. The sugar will balance out the olive taste, hopefully. I don't know. No, we've done it before, it's fine. So don't do what I did. It'll be fine either way, but just try and use regular oil. Good to go. All right, 3/4 cup of buttermilk. You have to buy buttermilk special. It's kind of a pain. You can make it if you just Google it. I think you add lemon juice to regular milk or something like that. 3/4. And then 1/4 cup of Bailey's. I bought this little bottle. It cost me $9 for this tiny bottle. So this stuff's expensive, but it's necessary. You can't really substitute it because it's Bailey's Irish cream cake. And then 1 cup of coffee. Oops, turned it on a little bit early, but it's, oh. Don't turn it on high, turn it off. All right, we got all the wet ingredients in there. We'll go ahead and turn it on low. Don't do what I just did and make it explode. Just gotta mix it up a little bit in there. All right, now we're gonna just slowly add in the dry ingredients and let it all kind of mix together. Just add it nice and slow. styled. All right, so the recipe says to let it mix for 3 minutes. So we can turn it up maybe just a tiny bit. At some point, you'll want to go ahead and make sure you know which way your thing goes. Definitely helps. All right, stop it and then lift it up and do the little scrape the sides thing. All right, we'll let it beat a little bit longer. So while that beats for 3 minutes, go ahead and grab your pan, 9x13. You can use other ones. You can do the double decker, you can do the bunt, but this is what we've got. So we will spray it pretty good. The worst is when it gets stuck in there, so go ahead and spray it well. I'll grab a little bit of flour, throw this in there, and you just slide it around. Oh, we need a little more. So this is just to help it not stick to the pan when you want to take it out. This technique has been passed down from generation to generation for many years. It's called the flour smack technique. Perfect. We'll give this one last scrape. See, it's really liquidy compared to other cake batters, but it works. Don't worry about that. You also don't want to poison your friends to make sure, so you have to test it. Yep, doesn't taste like poison. So pour it on in. So my mom first made this cake years and years ago, and it just turned into one of everybody's pretty much favorite cakes. So we make it every year on Gavin's birthday. We got it in here. Now we throw it in the oven. It says 25 to 30 minutes, so we'll set the timer for 25, check it, and go from there. All right, so that was super easy. Things in the oven. Now we'll go ahead and clean up and make our frosting. So now we got our mixer cleaned off, our measuring cup cleaned out. We're ready to make the frosting. Pretty simple. It's just heavy whipping cream, Bailey's, powdered sugar. The recipe calls for 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. This is a pint, which I've got no idea how that compares. We could measure it, but it looks actually not the same. But if we measured it, then we'd be talking science, and that just sounds boring. So just go ahead and dump it in there. All right, then we can go ahead and start our mixer. Start it on low, otherwise it explodes everywhere, as we know. All right, then we're gonna do a half of a cup of powdered sugar, or you can, the recipe says you can use less if you don't like it too sweet. We'll use maybe a little less. We don't want it too sweet. And then do about a 1/4 cup of Bailey's, or a little more, whatever you feel like. See, I think cooking is more about how you feel rather than science. If you feel like a lot of Bailey's, add a lot of Bailey's. Now we'll slowly turn it up, because it's got to whip into whipped cream, obviously. Well, it's going everywhere. A little less. And you will have to like watch it, increase it. If it starts exploding, take it down a little bit. This frosting is nice because it's not like overwhelmingly sugary like buttercream would be. It's just a nice whipped cream with that tastes like booze, basically. So how could you go wrong? All right, so the recipe does say to beat this, but it's taken forever, so I might switch to the whisk and see if that's a little faster. I've made this recipe before, but it's usually only once a year, so I don't remember exactly what I've done in the past. We're making whipping cream, so we might as well just whip it. Oh yeah. I can already tell that's going way better. Use the whisk. So we're going for stiff peaks here. All right, they're pretty soft still. You gotta watch it, it'll go fast. I'd say that's pretty firm. I don't remember if it said stiff or firm. I don't know if there's a difference. I think we're good. See that peak right there? That's what we're looking for. As long as that stays up, That's a stiff peak, I guess. Now we'll throw this in the fridge. When the cake comes out, we'll throw that in the fridge, let it cool for a bit, and then we'll frost it up. All right, we're gonna check our cake. Timer's going off, 25 minutes. Shit, fuck, that was hot. Make sure you don't get your hot pads wet, because then the heat goes right through it. Okay, so go ahead and stab it. That's what we're looking for. Oh. That's what we're looking for. It comes out nice and clean, not gooey. All right, now we'll just let it cool on the counter for a little while, and then throw it in the fridge to cool off even more. And then we'll frost it. All right, so we'll take a plastic knife and go around the edges. And hopefully that kind of loosens it up, and then it'll come right off. You can also taste a little bit. Yep, that's cake. All right, the cake is nice and cool. We're gonna frost it, finish it up. It'll be perfect, delicious. I'm excited. Hope you're excited. I hope you try this at home. Definitely do try this one at home. Got a bunch of frosting here. This is really light, like whipped cream type frosting. You can just kind of like spread it however. There's plenty of it in here. You're not gonna run out. Some recipes that you have like the exact to the tablespoon amount to frost it that you would need. This has tons. You got plenty. So my mom didn't invent this recipe, but she's the one that first discovered it and started making it, and everybody loved it. So like I mentioned, it's Gavin's birthday, and it's his favorite. So the funny story Gavin always tells, my mom gave him a piece of it. He wanted to save it for later. So he was driving home, he had it buckled into the front passenger seat, and he just kept staring at it, and then tries to take one little bite, almost drives off the road and crashes his car, and so he decides he better pull over and eat it without crashing. So it's that good. I highly recommend it. No eating and driving. Deal. It may not turn out the prettiest cake we've ever made. This frosting's really hard to frost with, actually. Generally, nobody cares how a cake looks if you're not at a store. And if your friends are complaining how your cake looks, then screw them. They don't get any. Any extra, you might as well just throw on there, unless you hate frosting, in which case don't. But this frosting has alcohol in it, so pile it on. All right, that should do it. Test the frosting, make sure it's not poisonous. Tastes pretty good. We'll try and clean up the edges a little bit so it's not as like crazy messy. Just use a paper towel to kind of like get it out of the little Tupperware area. This isn't a critical step, but it'll help it look a little bit cleaner, nicer, and it won't make quite as big of a mess when we transport it later. This looks amazing. Can't have it quite yet. We got to save it for the birthday party tonight, but it's going to be amazing, I promise. We've had it before. Thanks for watching. If you make the recipe, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really curious to see if you guys love it as much as we do. See you next time.